At my birthday dinner, my dad tapped his glass and said, "Honestly, if you packed up and left tomorrow, not one of us would even notice." The whole table laughed. I smiled, set down my fork, and said, "Let's find out." That night, while everyone was still laughing about the joke, I went upstairs and quietly filled 2 duffel bags. I left my house key in the fruit bowl by the door and walked out at 5 a.m. No note, no goodbye, just gone. For 11 years, I'd been the invisible engine of that house. 3 generations packed under one roof, and somehow every gear turned because of me. I did the grocery runs, the school pickups, the bills, the vet visits, the appointment reminders, the birthday cakes. I even remembered which of my brother's shirts couldn't go in the dryer. So when Dad raised his glass at my own birthday dinner and said not one of them would notice me gone, something in me finally went quiet and cold. I drove 4 hours to a town where nobody knew my face, rented a room above a bakery, and started going by my full name instead of the baby nickname they'd used my whole life to keep me small. Week 1, my phone didn't ring once, exactly like Dad promised. I actually laughed out loud in the parking lot of my new job. Week 2, everything started to burn. My brother Cole called my old office 19 times before lunch. Turns out the family dog, Biscuit, the one everyone called Cole's dog, even though I was the only person who ever fed or walked him, had gotten loose when nobody remembered to shut the back gate. Animal control picked him up 2 neighborhoods over. Cole had to pay $250 to get him back, then realized he had no idea Biscuit even took thyroid medication, because I'd been hiding it in a spoonful of peanut butter every morning for years. Week 3, it was my sister Renee's turn. She'd dropped her son Micah at our house that morning like she had 1,000 times. Assuming someone would handle the school run, I always did. Nobody did. Micah sat on the school steps for almost 2 hours after dismissal, until a teacher called the emergency line. Renee had to leave a client meeting, speed across town, and stand in the principal's office, while they gently explained that leaving a 7-year-old stranded raises concerns. She got written up at work the same afternoon. Around week 5, Dad learned the utilities weren't magic. The power, the water, the internet, all of it auto-drafted from an account only I controlled. When it lapsed, the electricity cut out in the middle of a July heat wave. The chest freezer full of the meals I used to batch cook every Sunday thawed and spoiled, and the whole kitchen reeked for days. Dad, the man who said no one would notice me, spent a week eating gas station sandwiches in a dark house, fanning himself with an old magazine. Then Mom fell apart. She discovered I'd been the one quietly running every appointment for the entire family, the checkups, the refills, the reminders that appeared on everyone's phones like clockwork. She missed her own pre-op appointment for cataract surgery because the reminder never came, and the surgery got bumped 3 months down the calendar. She forgot my aunt's 60th birthday for the first time in decades and had to hear about it, red-faced, at Sunday dinner. The same Sunday dinner I used to cook for 14 people without being asked. That dinner was its own disaster, by the way. The whole extended family showed up expecting the spread I always made appear. Instead, they found an empty table, a fridge full of nothing, and my mother crying into a stack of paper plates nobody had thought to buy. My uncle drove home hungry. 2 cousins got into a shouting match about whose job it should have been. Somebody finally said out loud what all of them had spent weeks refusing to admit. The house didn't fall apart when I got mad. It fell apart the second I stopped. Meanwhile, I was 4 hours away learning to bake bread from the woman downstairs, taking long walks with no phone, sleeping past 7 for the first time in a decade without someone pounding on my door before dawn. Last week, Mom finally found me. She hunted my number down through an old coworker she chased across 3 social media accounts. She called at 10 at night, sobbing so hard I could barely make out the words. "Please," she kept saying, "please come home. We can't do this without you. Your father hasn't slept, the house is a wreck, Biscuit won't eat, and nobody knows how you did all of it." I let her cry. I listened to every broken word from the woman who sat at that table and laughed while Dad said I didn't matter. Then, when she finally went quiet, I said the only thing left to say. "You told me nobody would notice if I left. You were half right, Mom. Nobody noticed me leave. You just can't stop noticing everything I took with me." And I hung up.